In less than 7 minutes, a Russian high-speed assault built around motorcycles was torn apart before it could reach the Ukrainian trench line. More than 16 soldiers moving at nearly 120 kilometers per hour across open ground believed speed would carry them through the danger zone before Ukrainian defenders could react. But the moment the formation entered the exposed corridor, Ukrainian reconnaissance drones were already watching from above. Then, the first explosion hit. An FPV drone struck near the moving line, throwing fire and black smoke across the dirt road. Seconds later, the attack escalated as another drone targeted the vehicle carrying electronic warfare equipment, cutting away the protection that was supposed to shield the assault from the air. What looked like a fast breakthrough suddenly became a trapped formation under constant observation. Stay with us and subscribe to the channel, because this attack reveals why speed alone may no longer be enough to survive on the modern battlefield. At 4:10 a.m., the Russian assault unit began forming behind a narrow tree line several kilometers from the Ukrainian trench line. This was not a heavy armored push built around tanks or infantry fighting vehicles. It was a faster and lighter assault group, using motorcycles as the front element to cross open ground before Ukrainian forces could fully respond. The plan depended on speed more than protection. Around 17 soldiers were prepared to move in small riding groups, with the lead motorcycles expected to cover nearly 900 meters of exposed terrain in only a few minutes. Their speed was estimated at more than 110 kilometers per hour on the straightest part of the route. Fast enough to reduce the time spent in the danger zone, but not enough to erase the risk of being seen from above. Behind the first line of motorcycles, a vehicle carrying electronic warfare equipment moved with the formation. Its role was to interfere with drone control signals, weaken video feeds, and make the final approach of FPV drones more difficult. Further back, a short-range air defense system followed the group, meant to provide a last layer of protection against aerial threats. On paper, the structure looked organized. Speed moved in front. Electronic warfare protected the center. Air defense covered the rear. But each layer had limits. Motorcycles were fast, but exposed. Electronic warfare could help only as long as it stayed active and hidden. The short-range air defense system was not designed to easily stop small FPV drones flying low and appearing for only seconds. Before any explosion happened, Ukrainian reconnaissance drones were already observing the wider area. They were not attacking yet. They were watching movement, direction, spacing, and the route the assault force would be forced to use. The danger had already begun before the first shot was fired. At 4:18 a.m., the motorcycles left the tree line and entered the open corridor. From the ground, the assault still looked fast and controlled. The riders were leaning forward, engines pushing hard, and the formation was trying to hold a steady line toward the Ukrainian trench positions. But from above, the picture was very different. The entire movement was now visible as a long, narrow pattern crossing exposed terrain. Ukrainian reconnaissance drones continued to observe without rushing the strike. The operators could see the spacing between the motorcycles, the direction of travel, and the support vehicles moving behind them. The route was only a few meters wide in several places, shaped by old vehicle tracks, damaged soil, and rough ground on both sides. That meant the riders had speed, but they did not have freedom of movement. Then the first small explosion came. A Ukrainian FPV drone approached from the side at low altitude and struck near one of the motorcycles toward the rear of the assault group. It was not the largest blast of the engagement, but it was enough to break the rhythm. Fire flashed across the dirt path, dust lifted into the air, and at least 3 riders behind the impact were forced to slow or shift direction within seconds. That short disruption mattered. A formation moving above 110 kilometers per hour cannot react like a slow patrol. One sudden obstacle can spread confusion through the entire line. The lead riders were still pushing forward, but the rear section began to stretch, hesitate, and lose spacing. What had looked like a fast spearhead now started to show its first weakness. The electronic warfare equipment was still active, and the short-range air defense system was still behind the group. But the first hit had already proved something important. The assault could be disturbed before it reached the trench line. Stay with us and subscribe to the channel because the next strike would not be a warning shot. It would target the one system the entire formation depended on to survive from the air. At 4:21 a.m., the main explosion hit the center of the Russian assault formation. As the motorcycles tried to regain speed after the first disruption, a Ukrainian FPV drone had already closed in on the most important target in the group, the vehicle carrying electronic warfare equipment. This was not just another support vehicle. It was the system meant to protect the entire assault from drone strikes by weakening control signals, disrupting video feeds, and reducing accuracy during the final seconds of an attack. But the vehicle had already been identified. Ukrainian reconnaissance drones had tracked its position from the moment the formation left cover. Its movement, distance from the motorcycles, and role inside the group were clear. When the electronic interference began to build, the drone operators had only a short window to act. Waiting too long could mean losing the signal. Moving too early could mean missing the strike. One FPV drone dropped lower and pushed through the unstable feed. Its video flickered, but the target remained visible. The drone corrected its path, crossed the final stretch of open ground, and drove directly into the electronic warfare vehicle. The blast was much larger than the first hit. A fireball rose from the road, black smoke pushed above the field, and debris scattered across the narrow route. Within seconds, the system that was supposed to shield nearly 17 soldiers and their support group was gone. That single strike changed the balance of the engagement. The interference weakened almost immediately. Drone feeds became clearer. Control improved. Other FPV drones could now move closer, hold steadier angles, and track the remaining motorcycles with greater precision. The assault was still moving, but its protection had been stripped away. The short-range air defense system behind the formation struggled to respond because the threats were small, low, and appearing for only brief moments. From this point forward, the Russian unit was no longer advancing under a protective layer. It was moving deeper into open ground while Ukrainian drones watched every turn, every slowdown, and every attempt to recover. At 4:24 a.m., the assault reached its most critical point. With the electronic warfare vehicle destroyed, the Russian motorcycles were fully exposed. Ukrainian FPV drones no longer needed to maintain distance. They adjusted height and trajectory, surrounding the formation from all sides. The lead motorcycle, moving at nearly 115 kilometers per hour, became the primary target. A drone dove from above, striking the bike with precision. The motorcycle lost control instantly, crashing sideways across the narrow dirt corridor. The path, barely 5 meters wide in several sections, left no room for the following riders to maneuver. In the next few seconds, motorcycles behind collided or swerved into the soft soil on the edges. Engines roared, tires skidded, and the line that had seemed unstoppable just minutes before shattered into chaos. The tight spacing that had allowed speed now became a lethal disadvantage. Riders had no time to adjust, and small disruptions propagated through the formation like a chain reaction. Within moments, what had been a fast and coordinated spearhead transformed into a chaotic series of isolated movements. Some soldiers abandoned their motorcycles entirely, sprinting toward the tree lines or low vegetation, hoping to escape visual tracking. But every motion was still visible from above. Ukrainian drones shifted focus seamlessly, tracking multiple small targets and striking wherever a pause or misstep occurred. By the end of this brief but devastating sequence, the Russian assault unit no longer existed as an organized force. A single hit to the lead motorcycle had cascaded into a full collapse, leaving the narrow corridor littered with wreckage and confusion. The battlefield had transformed in seconds. proving that exposure, not speed, now dictated survival. At 4:29 a.m., as the remnants of the motorcycles lay scattered across the dirt corridor, Russian command ordered a small contingent of armored vehicles and transport trucks to advance toward the front, intending to recover survivors and stabilize the situation. This reinforcement included roughly 6 armored personnel carriers and 4 supply trucks, moving cautiously at 60 kilometers per hour, hoping to avoid the chaos that had overtaken the initial assault. Ukrainian reconnaissance drones, already monitoring the wider battlefield, immediately detected the approaching group. From above, the route, speed, and spacing of each vehicle were clear. Without waiting for the reinforcements to reach the compromised corridor, FPV drones launched preemptively to intercept the new targets along the approach. The first strike hit the lead armored vehicle as it entered the already dangerous corridor. The explosion forced the vehicle to stop at an angle, partially blocking the path. Vehicles behind hesitated, some attempting to reverse, others trying to maneuver around the obstruction. Within seconds, the orderly advance collapsed into uneven movement, echoing the chaos that had destroyed the motorcycles. Another drone targeted a transport truck attempting to bypass the blocked lead vehicle, hitting near its front section. Fire and debris spread across the narrow road, slowing the entire column. By the time a third vehicle attempted to push forward, drones had already adjusted, striking multiple points simultaneously, ensuring no coherent response could form. The reinforcement effort, though slower and more cautious than the initial assault, failed before it could influence the front line. The corridor had become a fully controlled space from above, where each movement was tracked, analyzed, and engaged before it could achieve any effect. The battlefield remained dominated by Ukrainian drone teams, turning what was meant to be a rescue operation into another layer of destruction. The Russian command's attempt to recover from the initial collapse had been anticipated, neutralized, and rendered ineffective in a matter of minutes, emphasizing that speed or caution alone could no longer guarantee survival. By 4:36 a.m., the Russian assault unit no longer existed as a coherent force. The motorcycles lay scattered along the narrow dirt corridor, engines still running but riders disoriented or fleeing on foot. The electronic warfare vehicle had been destroyed, the lead motorcycle obliterated, and even the armored reinforcements sent to stabilize the situation had been neutralized before reaching the front line. Fires burned at multiple points, black smoke curling above the corridor marking the trail of destruction. What stands out is not only the scale of the loss, over 20 soldiers incapacitated or scattered within minutes, but the methodical sequence of failures. Detection occurred before the first shot. The initial small explosion disrupted formation. The main strike eliminated the protective electronic shield. The lead motorcycle crash collapsed the line, and reinforcements were intercepted long before reaching the zone. Each step magnified the vulnerability of the unit, turning a fast, coordinated assault into a fragmented collection of exposed targets. From a personal perspective, this engagement is a stark example of how modern warfare has shifted. Speed alone can no longer guarantee survival. In an era where drones can detect, track, and engage targets in real time, the assumption that rapid movement ensures safety is obsolete. The corridor that once seemed a route to breakthrough became a trap, controlled entirely by cheap, agile drone systems capable of neutralizing heavily equipped formations. Yet, the lesson is not purely technological. Strategy, timing, and adaptation remain essential. A fast unit can only survive if it can mask its movement, disperse and anticipate aerial observation. Drone dominance has inverted the battlefield. Exposure, not brute force or speed, now dictates outcomes. This raises a critical question for anyone analyzing modern conflicts. How will high-speed assaults adapt in the face of continuous aerial surveillance? Will concealment and deception replace speed as the defining advantage? Or will new tactics emerge to restore balance between ground forces and unmanned systems? I invite you to share your thoughts. Do you believe speed can still be decisive? Or is the era of drone-dominated battlefields rendering rapid assaults obsolete? How would you adapt a fast-moving force in a world where every meter is watched from above?